5, 4, 3, 2, 1, 0. All engine running. Liftoff. We have a liftoff.
Hello and welcome to Truth, Beer, and Consequences. This is a podcast where my co-hosts and I listen to all the Cincinnati-based craft beer media from the previous week. We get together at a podcast host, and today we are back at Higher Gravity Summit Park, and today it is a bumpin'.
Oh my God, yeah.
Ladies and gentlemen,
there are multiple company office happy hours going on. The music is up to 11. If you live in the Blue Ash area, bring your work compadres to Higher Gravity Summit Park for some beverages.
Yeah.
Wind down the day, yeah. It should start kind of getting a little quieter as we approach like 7 p.m. or after, but you'll just have to put up with a little extra ruckusness.
The party don't stop till it's dinner time.
It's past dinner time for me.
Yeah, you wake up really early.
I really do, yeah. Most times.
My line of work. A little more sleep in.
Yeah.
Stay up late.
All good.
So, yes, that's what this podcast is. And I am Marco. I'm a taproom manager here locally. I've brewed some beer for a few years, so I got that going for me. I am about to introduce the best co-host in Podcastlandia.
I am Julia, and I am a carnivore by birth, and Marco understands that reference. And good. I have 4 Bocce beers in front of me. This is absolutely amazing.
Woo!
I love it.
It
Tis
is
the season.
Box season. Box Fest coming up this weekend.
Oh
Julia.
my God, yeah. I'm excited.
Yeah?
Are you going to try to make it down?
Gosh, I don't know.
You're going to try to make it down.
Yeah.
Let's just say that.
Okay,
yes.
So everything with way things are going at work, everything is a last minute we'll see, but it is definitely something that I'd like to do. I've never been.
I've been to Bocce. I have yet to make it to the parade, so I'm hoping this is the year that I get down to the parade. The parade. Yes.
Lived in Cincinnati almost 20 years. I haven't made it to Bocce yet.
Maybe this is your year.
Maybe.
We'll have to find out.
Yep. All the thoughts and opinions on this podcast are ours and ours alone. They do not reflect any entity which we may be affiliated with, such as full-time jobs, part-time jobs, third part-time jobs, or Higher Gravity itself. So if you need to get at us, we'll tell you how at the end of the pod to get at us. And at us, you should get.
Absolutely.
And that way you can become a Patreon, listen to all of the content that is saved. It's saved for Patreon, Patreons. And, at least, what did I say? At least 60% of that is good content, funny content. Yeah. So do that. Also follow our sister podcast, Cincy Beer Events, where we tell you about Cincy beer events. There it is. That is what it is. Well, we've also started a Facebook page, and we are trying to share all of the Cincy beer events.
Which we don't live on social media. We are busy during the day. We will miss events. So
many.
So either tag us, tag at Truth Beer Pod or tag Cincy Beer Events on Facebook, and we will try to reshare just as many as we can before Facebook kind of blocks us by saying, we don't know if you're real, if you're a bot, what you're doing here. So we really do try our best.
Facebook's way of saying doing too much.
Exactly. They don't want us to be productive.
Well, bullshit. Anyone try and be productive, they shut that shit down.
Mm-hmm.
So, having said all that, this would not be a craft beer podcast if we weren't drinking some sort of beverage, and we aren't like those fake-ass podcasts that don't drink beer.
Nope.
We are drinking beer, ladies and gentlemen.
Yes.
Julia, what you drinking?
I am drinking both Matry's Gutenbach and Northern Rose Jester, their Doppelbock. So wow. I am bocking it up today.
That's great.
Yes. How about you?
I am also doing the same thing.
We have a lot to talk about today.
We do. We need to get started, actually.
Yes. We really need to cut through the bull crap and get to the 37 different pieces.
The important bull crap.
Yes. All right, let's make sure that we have watched and listened to the same things because, again, there was a lot there.
All right.
We have Thirst Trap Thursdays from the Brewery Explorers.
Yes.
All right.
Do we cheers when we say the wrong name to that?
Yes, we absolutely do. Cheers.
That is Thirsty Thursdays, ladies and gentlemen.
Mm-hmm. And then we have the Brews Travelers Outcast podcast. They came out with a new episode.
Yeah.
We have a short video.
Long-ass episode.
It was very long. It was a lot of fun, though.
A lot of fun.
Speaking from personal experience.
Yeah.
We have a short video from the Gnarly Gnome's YouTube channel about his experience going to the Moe's Tavern pop-up.
Yep.
All right. We have an episode of Craft Parenting Podcast to talk about.
Yep.
We have I Can't Turn My Pages. We have an episode of Cincy Brewcast to talk about.
Yes.
We have an episode of the Barstool Perspective to talk about. And finally, we have an episode of the Weekly Pint.
Which starts promptly at 9:30.
Promptly. Never deviates.
Yeah.
Ever. So that's 7 pieces of Cincinnati craft beer media content for us to cover.
Woo!
I'm not even going to ask where you want to start. We're just going to go with how they are in my notebook because we ain't got time to figure all this out.
Yeah.
So okay, we got what we're drinking. We got the disclaimer. We have everything. I think we're going to just run into this.
Okay, let's go.
All right. The Brewery Explorers Thirsty Thursday YouTube video. It was posted on February 22nd, and it is with the fine gentleman of Brewcast. Yeah. This was awesome. It started off with how Brett and Mike came to be Cincinnati craft beer's most beloved couple.
Yep.
They both were dressed very fine. They looked very dapper in the center view. I think they were a little nervous about sitting as close together as they were for this because it looked like they were sharing, single laptop screen.
Yeah.
So in Barstool Perspective, which is I guess what they're calling their show now until they change it again.
Right.
They were able to have a little bit of room to man spread throughout the show.
Yeah.
This, I feel like they were almost forced to. Their knees were touching under the table. I'm pretty certain.
Oh, for sure. I think that happens anyway.
Probably does.
Yeah.
Probably does.
They
Nothing
just
wrong with it.
legs.
It's whatever.
They just do a little cross-leg thing.
They hook their ankles.
Yeah, they hook the ankles.
Yeah. It's very cute. They made kind of a bit of an announcement, which they played it off like a very, very, low-key mention. Their book, which it sounds like is called Tanked in Cincinnati, should be hitting shelves in May.
Yeah.
Very, very, very excited about that. I'll probably pick up a couple copies and see if I can't get them to sign them because that'd be freaking awesome.
So would one sign one and the other sign the other?
And then both of them would sign the third. Yeah.
Okay.
And then I have one that has no signature at all, so that if I do decide it's going to Half Price Books or something like that, I have a copy that I don't feel bad about getting rid of.
Half Price Book.
Oh my God, I'm telling you.
The whole spin-off episode on...
I'd rather donate to the library. That's what you do. If you have books that you don't want anymore for some weird reason, donate them to your local library.
Yeah. Unless you want to take a whole box of books and get 21 cents for it.
Mm-hmm. Apparently, one of the big questions, how did you guys meet? How did you decide to do a podcast together? How did you decide to do the video documentaries, all of that? A dead woolly mammoth is really what spawned their entire existence as Cincinnati Craft Beer's best couple.
Makes perfect sense.
It really does.
Had to have been something of that nature.
Yeah. There was some talk about how missing link yeast changes over time. That was really cool. Brett absolutely loved kind of delving into that slightly geekier side of things, which was funny because they said, we're not going to spend 30 minutes just talking about missing link and the beer and the yeast and the festival. But then they spent almost 30 minutes talking about missing link and the beer and the yeast and the festival, which I am 100% for.
I'm for that.
June
I'm in
1st,
favor
everyone. June 1st, Missing Link Fest 2024.
Okay.
Be there. It is
bigger and better than ever.
It is so much freaking fun. I love it.
Do you think that the Sasquatch costume has been properly laundered?
No, absolutely not.
Okay.
Just like the yeast, it has to develop a certain funk as the years go by. Yes.
So that way, one year they can collect the yeast from the costume.
Sasquatch, exactly.
And then create.
Now, I do believe that it is hung out to where it kind of air dries, like there's some airflow through it.
Yeah.
But as far as it being properly laundered, absolutely not. Let's see. COVID pretty much was the reason that the podcast started, just like every other douchebag that started a podcast in the last 4 years.
Yeah.
It was COVID. We've got nothing else. Hell, that's why we started this one. We've kind of got nothing else to do,
Yeah.
Neither of us have 13 different jobs.
Right.
And extra time to spare. So why not do a podcast as well?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Exactly.
I liked it.
Yeah.
I liked it. Now, a lot of people might be familiar with the current season and the one prior, but there was a 0.5 season.
It was a lost season.
That I would love to track down again, but I can't find. It's out there. I just haven't dug it up yet. But it was amazing. It was them talking to a lot of local, not just breweries, but business owners about how COVID was impacting them. And it really gave you a better view into why you need to support your local breweries. So, Brett and Mike, if you can refine that or have your production team refine that and re-release it, maybe just on your YouTube channel, we'd appreciate that. They talked about the Kentucky Common Beer, and Brett got incredibly passionate and excited talking about that.
It was great.
It was phenomenal. It was probably one of the most engaged that he was throughout the entire interview, I'd have to say.
They also talked about Montucky cold snacks.
Yes.
It's a different Tucky.
It's a very different kind of Tucky.
Yeah.
Yes. Yes. Which is also different than a Kentucky exclamation point if you happen to listen to Small Town Murder, which no one does except for me, but that's okay.
There are a lot of people that do.
There are a lot of people,
just not
none
anyone
at this table.
at this table.
Yes. A lot of the technological advancements led to beer being lighter and lighter, and this is basically why we have seltzers now. Let's see, what other notes do we have? Mike had some very positive outlooks on the future.
So unlike him.
Craft beer. He's seeing the trends. He thinks there's an upswing.
Yeah.
Or does he? Keep an eye out for Urban Artifacts Mai Tai. Coming soon.
Of course.
As a canned cocktail near you.
It's a natural progression.
It is a natural progression of things.
From the fruit punch.
I mean, why else would they have brought in that big-ass laundromat if not to make craft cocktails in the cans? Absolutely. Yeah. The Brewery Explorers asked about who has been your favorite guest and who are your bucket list guests still, which that was a lot of fun.
Yes.
I was very excited to hear that Gnome has been their favorite guest so far, both guests and co-hosts.
Well-deserved.
Absolutely well-deserved. Then they talked a bit about, again, Missing Link Fest, June the 1st, be there or be square. And I don't know, it was a really, really good interview from them. Blake and Noah are doing really cool things with their show.
They're getting some great guests.
Yeah, they're absolutely getting great guests. I'm glad they're doing the Thirsty Thursdays. I don't believe that those are put out as podcasts as well. I think it's
I don't think they are.
YouTube. So if you are interested in these, you have got to be following their YouTube channel, which, I mean, you should anyway. You get to see all the facial expressions from, it is not on their podcast stream, but seeing like the actual interactions with their guests is phenomenal. Definitely check it out. I had a multiple choice question, but I kind of already answered that in part of the recap, so I don't know if we want to just...
Yeah, we'll just move on.
Move on to the...
That's fine.
To the sip count.
Yeah, sip count.
Because with Brett and Mike being involved, it's going to be up there.
And they're going to have different style glasses.
Yeah, absolutely. The total number of sips in the episode of Thirst Trap Thursday. Cheers.
Cheers.
To you, sir. From February 22nd, 2024 with the fine gentlemen at Brews, guys. 75 sips.
Ooh, wow.
That's 150 ounces or 9.375 pints.
Excellent work.
That is
excellent work.
Shit ton of drinking.
Yeah.
So drink responsibly if you decide you're going to try to drink along with this episode.
Yeah. And when you do, send it to us.
Yeah, let us know.
Let us know.
Somehow. Or just call the Shift Beers drunk line and then they'll pass it along to us.
Yeah.
Yes. All right, anything else that you wanted to say about this episode before we move on?
No, let's move on. We got a lot to talk about.
We do. All right, let's go to the Brews Travelers Outcast podcast, episode 28, Westside Brewing Company in Westwood, Ohio.
I've been there before. Once.
I've been there a billion times.
And you were there that day.
I was there that day. I walked into the tap room just planning on getting a beer, and I see the Brews Traveler and Quick Trip, and they're like, yo, we need a co-host. Come on.
Yo.
Come sit in here with us.
Yo.
Absolutely not pre-planned in any way, shape, or form.
Right.
It was...
No Google Docs or spreadsheets.
No, none whatsoever. It was absolutely amazing. Jason, the tap room bar manager, was brought in to answer their... They call them rapid-fire questions.
Yeah.
And they're like, yeah, so Jason, we'll try to only take up about 20 minutes of your time for you to answer this. I think that was like an hour of the entire episode. This is almost a 2-hour episode.
It was almost 2 hours.
We had a lot of fun.
It sounded like a lot of fun.
So great to be there. Jason loves Westside. And you can tell with all of his answers.
Yes.
That he is incredibly passionate. He said in the show, that was his bar before he started working there. That was his brewery before it was his brewery.
Right.
And it shows. It absolutely shows.
And there are some times when you're listening to something, let's say it's a 2-hour podcast, where like, damn, this is a 2-hour fucking podcast. But no, this is a podcast that doesn't matter that it's 2 hours, because it was a fun, move it along, thing.
Yeah.
The conversation flowed well. You could tell everybody was having a good time.
Mm-hmm.
You could hear everybody was having a good time. So, yeah.
And I might let you run a little bit more with this one than me, just because it's like talking about myself, talking about stuff like it's, oh my God, you're making me uncomfortable.
Yeah.
I don't like it. No. No one agreed on how large the side of Westside Brewing was. Like when they say, what size would you consider this brewery? Is it a small brewery, a medium brewery, a large brewery? Because depending on where you are and what your experience is with that, and how many private events are happening, and how it kind of falls in between, to me, that small to medium size.
Well, that's what you said on the podcast.
It is what I said on the podcast, and I am repeating
I would say
myself.
Parking lot small, brewery size medium.
That's fair. They also talked about the typical how many breweries are within like that 5 mile as the crow flies radius.
Great.
But it's important to note, as the crow flies on the west side is vastly different from how the crow flies on, like, say, the east side, or in the north, or in the south, or northern Kentucky. There was an interesting part of the conversation that I wasn't sure if they were going to leave in or not, but about how women, when they go out somewhere, have to be more aware of their surroundings than men do. Like I said, I always have to kind of figure out where am I parking, what's going on, and just
I've always thought that way.
Of this.
But I grew up where I grew up. There was a very famous tourist area,
right?
And so you had to be careful where you were parking. You had to be careful where you were walking. You had to, be aware of what was going on around you. And so that's just, I still carry that. There are a lot of things that, a lot of people are comfortable with that. I'm just like, I'm always in certain situations on alert.
But it was a very interesting non-beer related tangent that brought up that I'm glad that they left in, because it is something that, again, for a certain percentage of the population, it never even comes into consideration that they have to think about it.
Yep.
Jason is the most succinct, just concise, to the point person when it comes to answering questions about Westside Brewing.
His responses are so fast.
And they were so good. You know what I mean? Like, absolutely. Absolutely. Let's see, they expanded back in 2022, and they're already at capacity again.
Yay!
Which then we started talking about the great...
Congratulations!
We talked about the great DIPA shortage of 2022 that, kind of hit in there.
Yeah.
It was a very dark time in my Josh and I's life. I'm glad that those days are behind us. Hopefully they'll stay behind us.
I had a sampling of DIPA yesterday.
Yes, you did. Yes, you did. How was it?
It was excellent.
Good. Very good. Very good. Let's see. They mentioned a fun fact about one of the Westside Brewing logos in the tap room. So listen to the episode and then see if you can find said little, I don't want to call it an Easter egg, but it's something that you would not notice, right, unless you were paying attention. Let's see. Jason has very strong opinions on the price of stickers at breweries.
Yeah. You know what? That's a strong opinion, yes. That's not an uncommon opinion.
But I didn't realize that he had such strong thoughts about it. It was that conversation probably could have gone on twice as long as it did.
Well, you were there. So
I was there.
That's the firsthand account of that could have kept rolling.
And then the big announcement that we mentioned in our Cincy Beer Events podcast. Westside is one of the newest Vets and Brews partners, and they will be having an absolutely incredible veteran tattoo competition on March the 30th. I believe it's from 3 to 5 p.m. I'll have to relook that up because I didn't write it down in this set of notes. There'll be 2 winners for tattoos on veterans, but then they'll also have a civilian tattoo competition. Mm-hmm. So if you have what you think is amazing ink, show up at Westside Brewing on the 30th, A, to support Vets and Brews, B, to support Westside, and C, just to have a damn good time. Dana from Designs by Dana is going to be there. Austin from Black Fern Tattoo is going to be there. I think there's 1 or 2 other tattoo artists from the area that they're still trying to nail down who are going to be judges and giving out prizes. It's going to be absolutely amazing. So if you are able to make it, go. If you're not able to make it, cancel whatever your plans are and go to Westside Brewing on the 30th.
That's a good idea.
Yes. And all the clinks that you heard for the cheers, there was 100% beer in every single glass.
I don't believe you.
Every single time.
I don't believe you.
Why not? Would I falsify things on this podcast, Marco?
Well, I would, but you would.
Wouldn't I? We'll see. Maybe. Listen to the podcast and find out.
And show up to the event.
Absolutely. And also, answer this multiple choice question.
Oh, yes.
I have
You should.
Yes. What word, and you're in the industry, so this may be, you may already know this. What word can you not put on a beer label? Is it A, throatable? Is it
yes?
Is it
Remember
B,
that one.
crushable?
Yeah.
Or is it C, poundable?
Poundable. Or is it D, Julia? Is it D, Julia?
Oh my God.
Is it boofable?
Yeah. I mean, not to say you're not allowed to, but I wouldn't want to see that word on any of my beer cans.
Well, just you wait.
Oh God. I also have a real name count, so instead of a stick count, how many times
always
did
has to be with
real
the
name?
Brews
Oh
Travelers
God, yeah,
Outcast
absolutely,
podcast.
absolutely, and it was Jason actually caught us a bunch of times. Like, hey, you said this, you said this, you said this,
Yes.
and we're like, oh God, we are going to be under the table in no time from this.
Yeah.
There were 12 real names said in the course of this episode, which is 24 ounces, which is a pint and a half. So not a ton for this long of an episode,
but still,
that's
an extra pint and a half.
That is.
For slipping up.
Yep.
For slippage.
Yes. Speaking of slippage, that sounds so incredibly wrong.
Yeah.
We need to make sure that we do a better job of mentioning Adam Makes Beer in more of our podcasts. We don't talk about his content a lot because most of it is more on the technical side. It's not about Cincinnati craft beer, but it is wonderful content.
It is fantastic content. By the way, Blake the Brewery Explorer did an interview with Adam from Sonder about Bock and Bock beer. That came out about 12 or 14 hours ago.
After our cutoff.
But it was after our cutoff. But it is about Bock. Go and watch, go and listen to that content before Bockfest. Or after Bockfest, depending on what you're doing.
Sure.
But Adam Makes Beer is a fantastic follow. It's a fantastic channel. He does a monthly brewer to brewer interview. He does a monthly live Q&A. A live Q&A, folks.
Yes.
And then what he does is he takes and he clips out from those and then posts a piece of content every day.
Yes.
Every day.
Every single
this
day.
guy is putting in the work, and it's paying off for him.
Yeah.
So,
it's fantastic content. So support him, which in turn supports us. Truth Beer and Podsequences, sponsored by Adam Makes Beer.
That's right.
You heard it here first.
Thank you. Speaking of new and creation and things and supporting, you want to tell people what we're going to do?
More podcasts. We're going to spin off a third podcast. And it is all about... No, it's not going to be another podcast.
It's not going to be
But
another podcast.
we are going to... And we haven't ironed out exactly how we're going to do this, the
biggest
format
detail
of it.
is ironed out.
Well, yes, the biggest detail is ironed out. We are going to drink every packaged baseball beer released by a Cincinnati brewery, and we're going to try our best to rank them and pick which one is the best.
How about that?
Yes. So we are...
How about that?
We are pulling from what the Gnome does with Oktoberfest Quest, and this is going to be so much more casual than that. I believe that all of the content for that is probably going to be on YouTube, so be sure you're following our YouTube channel.
Please get over there.
We might make mentions of it on the podcast, but for all of that goodness, we're going to try to do video for each and every pair of beers.
You want to
that we
slurp
know.
that goodness, you got to go to YouTube. Take a break.
All right. So, according to Marco, we're taking a break, so we'll be right back. Holy crap, we made it
Back.
And let's see, what do we still have?
Back.
Oh, nice.
No.
Nice of you to join us.
No.
It's
We have
Guys are still here.
Bachfest weekend.
I know. Well, we still have 1, 2, 3, 4
Stop
shows
it,
to
really?
cover. Yeah.
Were there that many things that happened this week?
Yeah.
Yeah.
There were.
Jeez.
So to
I
start
felt like
from
we
the-
were on a roll. Didn't we,
We
go
were.
through 3?
Yeah, we were on a roll, and then Gnome showed up.
Oh, okay.
And the roll stopped.
Yep.
So we already talked about Thirst Trap Thursdays with Blake the Brewery Explorer
listened to that one.
and
Yep,
Brews
yep.
guys. We already talked about Brews Travelers Outcast podcast at Westside Brewing.
I listened to that one. Yep.
And we already talked about your YouTube video where
Listen
you
to that
went to
one.
the Moe's pop-up.
There's no way that there's anything else left that I actually listened to.
There is the Craft Parenting podcast.
I listened to that one.
All right. There is Cincy Brewcast at Bocce. You were present.
I
You
did listen
probably
to that
didn't
one.
listen, but you
I
were at
did.
least
I
present.
Edited, so it was
I thought
there.
you didn't edit.
I do a little bit.
A little bit?
Yeah.
Okay. All right. There is Barstool Perspective.
Yep.
And
I think I
Weekly-
listened to that one.
And Weekly Pint.
Yeah, I got that one too.
Yeah, so see,
Okay.
There's a lot of
there's
things.
still there was a lot this week.
Still more content.
Yes.
Let's go.
Let's go. We're just going by the order in my notebook, so no one gets to pick what we do next. Craft Parenting Pod, episode 154, Exploring New England IPAs. This episode was about an hour long, slightly over. And once again, I didn't watch the video. I just listened
did.
to it on the podcast.
I watched a little bit of it.
Okay,
I
okay.
didn't get the whole thing.
For me, it's hard because I know that, Marco, you've said, well, just put it on in the background. Well, if I'm just putting it on in the background, I'm just going to listen to it on my podcatcher. If I'm not
So
actively watching it. And you know
I
what I
started
mean?
it, and then my kids started vomiting everywhere, so I had to stop.
That's a fair reason to stop.
I had to stop.
Yeah, yeah.
I watched it, and I found when I was, say, answering work stuff or doing stuff like that, I had to rewind and see what I missed. But what I didn't miss is that Joe tends to wear the same sweater on the
his uniform.
podcast.
It's his podcast sweater.
His podcast sweater, yeah.
Yeah.
We just put
Like Bill Cosby, or
I'm here with my podcast sweater.
actually, I was thinking more like Mr. Rogers. I guess is the one
Yeah,
that
it's probably
he
better.
had his uniform. He would come in.
He did. He would come
Hello,
in, change
neighbor.
his shoes, change his cardigan.
Won't you be my neighbor?
Hello, neighbor.
Is Joe's more of a sweater or a cardigan? So like the quarter zip, like what is that more sweater or
I
cardigan?
think his more, isn't it a quarter zip?
I don't know.
But again,
Probably.
Like a pullover quarter zip, maybe?
But is a quarter
Feels
zip?
like.
Does a quarter zip lean more towards the sweater side or the cardigan side?
I think the parenting side.
The parenting. Okay.
Yep,
Okay.
yep.
That's fair. That's fair. They are alive, but maybe not live. They're like the Schrodinger's Ludwigs. They weren't sure if they were actually live or not. Again, maybe that made more sense if you watched the video.
I didn't get an alert that they were live.
Okay.
Did you?
I did not.
I got one that they were going to be live.
Yeah, I saw that one, but I didn't get one that they actually went live.
No, I
so-
just checked it a little bit later.
And it was there.
And they were there.
Okay, all right.
They were there.
Joe was not very impressed by Caroline triggering the OB, like the balloons and the lasers and
Joe
all
hates
that.
fun.
He,
He hates fun.
Yeah.
And
I've met the guy. You are not wrong.
the emoji things that can happen are tons of fun. So it tracks that he would hate it.
Maybe The way, so I didn't watch it, but in my head, the way he was reacting, I just pictured him just like looking just very disappointedly over at his wife.
It's accurate.
Yeah, that's pretty much how it went.
That's exactly what it was.
That's how it went.
I might have
Caroline's
to watch the first
looking
few
to
minutes.
like bump up the fun.
Yeah, she's
And Joe's
probably
just like-
throwing up the horns, and she's probably just like, yeah, this is great, and Joe's like,
Sometimes
Yeah.
she was
No.
doing it and he just didn't even know it was happening around him.
True. That was
She was
also
doing
true.
it and he just kept talking and there's things happening all around.
No. This episode was phenomenal for Joe because he fucking loves IPAs
Oh,
and,
he's an
and
IPA
all of
guy.
their variants.
Oh, yeah.
Huge IPA
Huge.
guy. He holds them with his very tiny hands.
That's right.
Both hands
Tiny
around
hands.
that can and just dives in.
Yeah.
Fantastic. They drank hazy IPAs from Goose Island, Mad Tree, and was it Blockhead Beer Works?
Yeah.
Yep.
Very
Yeah.
nice. Very nice.
Reminded me of, obviously, Charlie Brown,
Well, why not?
of course.
Yeah.
Blockhead.
Right. I mean, what else could it possibly be referencing other than Charlie
I
Brown?
don't know, former president.
Good point.
It's a cheap shot. Or
Yeah.
Eisenhower.
I mean, when there's low-hanging fruit, you might as well just
Yeah.
go for it, right?
I don't know how low Eisenhower's fruit was hanging, but
Not sure about that.
They talked about how Indiana has very dumb beer laws,
yep.
They do.
which I would agree with.
They do.
I would agree with.
I
What's going on with Tennessee and cold beer? Has that changed at all yet? I haven't.
I think it
really
got
looked-
struck down. I don't think
Okay.
it's, yeah.
All right.
can't have no cold beer in Tennessee.
No, I think
No, you can.
still can.
Yeah, I think
Still
Oh,
you
you still can.
It. Yeah.
Okay, good.
All right.
'Cause I mean,
Who wants to drink warm beer? Come on.
I'd do it if I had to.
Right.
I've
I
done
mean,
it.
if it's
Yeah, been there, done that.
Been
Right,
there, done
right.
that.
This episode, we find out that Joe and Caroline's kids sleep in chairs. They don't allow beds in their house.
Actually, it's
My-
Joe and Caroline sleep in chairs.
But then they were talking about how one of the kids
They sleep on them.
on them. Oh, okay.
They sleep
that
on
didn't
them
click.
I
in
sleep
the
very
chair.
I sleep very comfortably in my own bed every night. However, I will, if you want to go behind the scenes a little bit, both of my kids have been sleeping in chairs for probably the last, I don't know, 2 months. It's
But
like-
that's
it's
traction. You
but is
haven't been
that- but is
traction
that
because of
because-
the
it's the thing.
illness.
No, it's the thing right now. It's just that they're camping or something. I don't know. They sleep in the chairs.
But they have access to a bed. You're not
Oh, yeah.
like
No,
right. It's
yeah,
not
no,
like
but
no,
they-
you do not have a bed. A chair is the only option.
But they're
Okay.
building these weird nests in these chairs and they sleep there, and that's fine. I don't care.
It's a traction
fine.
scenario. What they do is they have like padding, wall padding, and then they have like
like that thing where you jump and thunk.
yeah,
Like the
Stick to the wall.
Velcro,
the Velcro
wall or
wall.
whatever,
Yeah, like the
Yeah,
human
they can
fly.
they can go to sleep like
but still be somewhat upright.
yes, correct. Yeah,
Maybe
that's
maybe,
for the post nasal drip. It
I was going to
helps
say
the
maybe all the
postnasal
kids
drip,
have like
yeah.
heartburn or postnasal
Maybe
drip.
I need that. Go
Sleep upright. It's
Sleep,
extra-
sleep on the wall.
Kids have
extra
heartburn
pillow or two. I don't know.
from
Go
what
sleep on the
Pop-Tarts?
wall tonight, honey.
Too many Pop Tarts.
The Pop Tarts are hitting wrong today.
There was some flying pig relay talk.
She's
About
very
you.
concerned. She's very concerned.
She's really concerned.
Very concerned.
There
She's
is
joined.
no way I'm going to tell her if and when I actually get the tickets.
Nice.
Not telling her.
Nice.
We're
never
just
gonna
going to
know.
show up.
She's-
We're
she's
just going to
not gonna
show
know.
up and hope that we're in it.
She's not going to know that any of us are there.
Well, what's going to be hilarious is she's going to post next in our like Pod Squad chat. Hey, because I haven't heard anything, I registered all of us, and you'll be like,
Gotta find some more
Well,
people now.
all right.
She
Good
shaved
for her.
3 minutes off
because-
her mile time,
which is fucking awesome.
That is awesome.
Oh my
That
god,
is
right?
awesome.
Right, that is awesome. I mean, has anyone else done anything?
I've
You
definitely,
Like,
You have.
Yeah.
I've definitely shaved a ton of time off of my pre-practice time.
Well, there you go. And
I
Marco
have
got
broken
shoes.
in my shoes.
Marco's broken.
That's cool. I put on my shoes today.
There we go.
Okay.
See,
right.
we're prepared.
Yeah,
we
fine.
are probably the
fine.
most prepared.
What can go wrong?
Look, if I had to do the whole thing, I'd be worried.
But you don't have to do
I
the
don't
whole
have
thing.
to do the whole thing.
No,
Yep.
no.
No.
And they got into talking about drinking Gill instead of hazy IPAs for a
Yeah,
while.
it's a weird
It
conversation.
was a very weird conversation. Like, I mean, again, we don't talk about, oh, then they drank this and this is what they thought about, because that's boring for us to just repeat what they said about the beers that they drank.
Of course.
We want to try to touch on topics that make
Well, it
you
wouldn't be
interested
if
in
we
listening.
did.
Well, right. But what we want to do is make people interested to listen to this episode. So we pick
Right.
out the good stuff to tell you about.
Yeah.
Joe was like, oh man, we purchased 2 6-packs of Gill and it's awesome and they're both almost gone. It's like, yo, those are rookie numbers.
They were bragging about their 2 6-packs of Gill as they were drinking a bunch of IPAs.
A bunch of hazy
that were
IPAs.
3 years old. I mean, come on.
Right. They're like, so this stayed on this Mad Tree one's 2022.
Yeah.
It's fine. It's like, no, come on, guys, you're better than that. And tied to the flying pig relay talk, the best place and no joke, the best place I feel like to train for the pig is at Spring Grove Cemetery.
Yeah.
Because the hills in that place do not stop, no matter what. Don't go to Miami Whitewater because there are a couple slight inclines. Like, yes, it's an 8-mile loop, which is good for one start and one finish.
The hills are the whole secret to everything.
But the hills are absolutely...
Got to get the glutes working.
Yes. This episode was fun. After the first... I think 20-ish minutes where they talked about the hazies that they were drinking. You knew all you
needed to know? Wow.
Oh, jinx.
How you doing? Everyone okay?
We're all dying. Except for you, apparently. No, probably not. The conversations just kind of got completely sidetracked, but it was still a lot of fun to listen to, or I'm assuming it was fun to watch, too. I don't have a count for how many...
Yeah.
Like, is it OBS... emotes, reactions that happen, because again, I
or
didn't watch
Apple.
It,
we
Apple.
don't actually understand anything.
This is true. It could be any number of things. Does anyone else have any other notes on this episode of the Craft Parenting Podcast, episode 154, exploring New England IPAs, but talking more about racing and gilling your kids than you do about the IPAs?
No, if we do, there's too many notes.
There are a lot of notes. Yes. All right, let's move on to the Cincinnati Brewcast.
Cheers.
Cheers.
Oh, I need another beer.
Uh-oh. Well, let's take a break because I didn't say what I was drinking. Marco, you didn't say what you were drinking. And Gnome, you didn't say what you were drinking. So
And I just drank it.
Let's just take a quick break. The people that need to get refills can get refills. And then we will talk all about Bocce Brewing, Gabbys Cafe, and a whole lot of goats.
All
right. We'll be right back. All right. For the 37th time tonight, we have made it back.
What's a capybara?
It is an amazing animal that I need one to live in my backyard. They're like gigantic hamsters. They are the friendliest
sounds
animals.
terrifying.
No, if you look at pictures, like they make friends with absolutely every single animal in the world.
What?
They'll be swimming alongside of like crocodiles, and the crocodiles are just kind of like, we're just chilling.
Crocodile.
They'll just chill together. They're just
What?
They're just what?
What is
They're
this?
just okay. A capybara. Okay, whoa. Do you not know what a capybara is?
Nobody does.
What are you talking about? Everyone does. Oh my God.
Crocodile friends.
So that's a picture of one.
Oh, that looks like a Nutra.
Well, capybara.
Okay. Yeah, that's pretty cute.
They
Stop
sometimes
befriending the
have
crocodiles
like
in that picture.
They have like fruits on their heads sometimes.
Why would they have fruits
Why
on
would
their
they
heads?
have fruits on their
Why
heads?
wouldn't they?
They're like
When
Carmen
they-
Miranda. Ba-da-da-da-da.
See their bottom right corner? They are the most amazing things. Hold on, let me try to find a picture of a capybara and a croc. We're back. We have new drinks.
Back.
Marco, back.
Capybara.
Capybara. What are you drinking, Marco? Tell us. Tell me now.
Masthead. Okay, I'm going to tell you right. No, you know what I'm going to do?
Tell us now.
I'm going to tell you.
Now.
You know what? Right now.
Tell us
I'm going to tell
later.
you right now. I'm having Masthead IPA.
Excellent. Gnome. What you drinking?
Gappy Snacks.
Hell to the fucking yeah. And
Put
I
together.
have from Pipeworks in collaboration with Serene Cryo Citra Magic. There's a fun, like, wizardy cat on it. Not a capybara, not as
Wizard
cool as that.
cat?
Yeah.
God,
like,
there's wizard
see,
cats and
it's-
capybaras making friends with crocodiles, and God, what's
crazy.
happening with this
What
world?
has this all
Dogs
come
and
to?
cats living together.
All right, before we get way too... we're already off the rails. But before we get too far off, we're already about 2 hours into this recording. So
Nice.
Patreon, you're welcome. Cincy Brewcast Volume 9, Episode 25, Bocce Brewing, Jim Effler, Goats, and Gabbys. This was a fun episode.
It was.
This
Great
was
episode.
a lot of fun. This was absolutely... I don't know how you managed to get so much awesome into one room, but...
Outside of
Holy
Tuesdays
crap.
at
Outside
Higher
of
Gravity.
Tuesdays, yeah. Well, he doesn't do that. That's us. That's us bringing the awesome
That's true,
together.
yeah.
Yes. Gnome has nothing to do with that. He just shows up. So in this episode, we had Jim Effler, artist extraordinaire. Dino
Mr.
D'Astasi,
Bocfest.
Mr. Bocfest, yes.
F and Jim is what I'd like to call him.
And Joe Cornella, am I saying that correctly? I
Sure.
hope so.
Joey C. Can we call him Joey C?
Joey
Sure,
C.
why not?
F and Jim and Joey C.
There's a lot of hand motions happening, a lot of talking with our hands in this episode because
Did you have a lot of this?
there's a lot of, I don't know. I don't even know what I just did there. So
For all
Bocce is
everyone watching the live stream.
Exactly. Bocce is Wyoming's first and oldest brewery.
Mm-hmm.
So who is the youngest brewery in Wyoming?
No,
I know,
ready.
it's
Bocce.
So they're
Bocce
the
is.
oldest and the youngest.
Right now, yeah.
Until Gilligan's, aka Westside, starts actually brewing over,
Making beer,
like
yeah.
across the street, catty corner, however you want to do it.
Yep.
It's also a great butcher on the corner there. Have you been to that butcher?
I have not, but
They like their specialty is a wagyu.
Ooh, okay.
Ooh, okay. All right. So what I'm hearing is next Tuesday we all just need to meet up in Wyoming.
I've been.
If Gnome
I've said
survives
it-
until then.
I've said it on this
I'll
podcast.
survive.
Like I have been to the
Not dead yet.
Not
Gilligan's.
bad, yeah.
I've been to the Gilligan's space because
Yeah.
I brewed beer for the place that was there before the barbecue place, the family barbecue place.
Station Barbecue,
Station
yeah.
Barbecue.
Mm-hmm.
So I've been there. We helped set up, their house beer for them. RIP. They were super sweet people. But anyways,
Why did Gabbys decide to make their own beer? Why did Bocce decide to kind of open in its space?
Yeah.
And it was Gabbys makes everything else from scratch. Why not make some of the beer that they sell from scratch?
makes sense.
And therefore, so is Bocce 100% ingrained part of Gabbys,
Yeah,
or is
yeah.
it its own? Okay, so it's not its own separate thing that just opened up in a space available in Gabbys. Like, does that make sense? How I'm trying to
Kind of, but yeah, no, it's
Okay,
all
okay.
same thing.
Okay, that's what I thought based off of the interview. Just wanted to make sure that I wasn't assuming
So
one thing or another.
why the difference in the name?
That's a great question. We should ask that.
We really should when we go there next Tuesday.
Didn't ask
we will,
it.
We'll ask.
It's,
Okay,
it's a
okay.
good question. If only someone had them in an interview scenario.
Yeah. Well, the idea is to keep,
I mean,
keep more content for more interviews, I guess.
Yeah.
I guess.
I mean, it could be something to where, like a lot of companies do, if they have an idea for another product, let's put this under another label. That way, if for whatever reason it doesn't work out.
I think it's.
Again, I'm not saying that that's what Gabbys and Bocce is doing.
I don't
from
know
other.
that's kind of the thought, but there definitely is so all of the products that they make, like the sauce and stuff, which you can buy in a jar, is branded differently. It's not Gabbys sauce. It's all there is different branding going on in different kind of things. So there may be something to that a little bit, but not in the same kind of way as a lot of craft breweries.
Yeah, I
do.
didn't want to infer that
They're not
they
gonna
were
sell
trying to
the
stay
brewery or
separate.
something.
Right? Yeah, I didn't want it to sound like I was inferring that that's what they were doing. I just know that other companies not related to brewing, restaurants, anything
Yeah.
at all, sometimes if Cincinnati Bell, when they spun off their cell phone service for a while,
Right.
it was under a completely different name, different brand. That way, if something happened, if it didn't work out, they could either sell it off or just shut it down.
Right.
And the Cincinnati Bell name wouldn't be necessarily, air quotes, marred by that.
Yeah.
So, again,
I don't think it's
not
that,
saying at all
but
it's that.
it's-
Right. I just didn't know if maybe it was let's keep all of our eggs in somewhat separate baskets just to try to keep things a little cleaner.
Huevos.
Don't know.
Oh, baskets and huevos.
Talked a lot about Bocfest and Jim's Bocfest
Mm-hmm.
posters and how he takes inspiration from previous Bocfests, and that whole creative discussion was just absolutely amazing.
It was great, and Gnome just really forwarded a fantastic discussion about creativity and the different ways that it's inspired, the different ways that it takes form, and I thought that really even more than beer, that creativity segment was just a true expression of another part of the passion that you have.
Sure. Yeah, it's a whole other show that probably should exist. I think,
I would agree.
The idea of creating and the creation that people that make beer go through is a real thing.
Yes.
And the people that make the artwork that markets that beer is an actual thing. And like there's the people that make the food that you're eating while you're drinking that beer is a thing. Like there's creativity behind all of these that like I'm fascinated by. I love that I don't think gets the fair shake that it deserves to be.
Right. And you even drew a few parallels in this interview between like photography as your creative art form, for I guess I don't even want to say for the most part of what you do, because I feel like other content is...
Yeah, it's weird now, but...
Right. But that in parallel with the creative art form that Jim uses, to where he's pulling an idea, and this is paraphrasing what you were saying, pulling an idea, an image out of the air, creating something that doesn't actually exist and making it, versus like photography, and you're creating something based off of what does exist, what is already right in front of you, and just how those parallel, and how the image or the story of what you want to create can change when you think you're almost done with whatever the piece is, whatever you're developing, the video you're putting out, and you're like, well, that's not the story. I don't know, it was just a really, really cool deep dive, but it wasn't super deep into those two different aspects of creativity and Bachfest and what you do and what Jim does. And the beer and the food aspect wasn't really put into that, but like you just said, it very easily could have pulled those exact same views from it. Yeah.
Well, in fairness to the content, they didn't talk very much about Gabbys and the food. It was just, we're Gabbys and we make house-made stuff and marinara and pasta, but it was very much about the beer, not really about Gabbys.
Mm-hmm.
Right.
So,
but the core of it was still like, we're Gabbys. We do this thing. We make everything, and because of that, we make beer, and that's what we're here to talk about. It's like, but
and
like
that's fantastic.
But that little sentence of like we make everything is super, super important to understand who they are as a company and whose they are as a spot there in Wyoming, and could be a whole show within itself.
Yeah. Well, one of the cool things that you also touched on was, how does Bocce fit into the community and the rest of the Cincinnati craft beer landscape? And just a collaboration with other local breweries and how they all have really great relationships. But I do feel like the Gabbys piece of that is also incredibly important, even though it wasn't very heavily touched upon. It's not just what Bocce is doing for the craft beer community, it's what Gabbys is doing for the bigger just community. I was going to say craft community, but the bigger community and how they fit in. And if Gabbys doesn't fit into the Wyoming community as well as they do, then Bocce's wouldn't fit into the community as well as they do. It's all like little Italian nesting dolls. You know what I mean?
See what you did there.
You see what I did there? Yeah.
Nesting dolls.
That if one piece doesn't really fit or work well with their immediate community in that immediate space, it may not work out at all. It was a little similar to a side conversation we had.
What I love about it is what Gnome's been preaching about for years, is that there's not the bubble is not here.
Mm-hmm.
That is a clickbait headline. You can be a little Italian restaurant and want to make your own beer and
not be able to make enough to keep up with what people are drinking.
Yeah, and also not have any interest whatsoever in having beer anywhere other than your place. Mm-hmm. And that's okay. And so that is so cool that they are doing that. I need to get there.
When I walked in the door, he was like, I'm really glad this all worked out to get this done today. It's like, I've been trying to hang on to this old weirdo, the brown ale that we drank on the show. He's like, it's got to be getting close to kicking. I really wanted you to have it on the show and wanted to be able to drink it with you. And it was not that long ago that I was there. And he's like, we tapped it, and it's got to be getting close. And sure enough, I got a snifter of it, and Jim got a smaller snifter of it, and I think that Dino and Joe got a smaller snifter of it, and at that point it was gone.
Yeah.
That was it. It was
that's
done,
fantastic.
and it just doesn't last very long, and that's them scaling
part of it.
up.
Yeah,
That's them moving up to one barrel.
And that was your 999th beer.
That was, yeah.
On the show, which is another.
I think.
We're gonna. It's our truth. It is
go
what
back
it
and
is.
count.
I mean,
It's really awesome. Now, I mean, there's legalities and hoops everybody needs to go through, but there's no reason that a place that has at least a small amount of space that if they're doing their own thing, that they can't put together a little beer. And
it doesn't have to be crazy. You don't have to make the next truth. Just make your beer. Make something that speaks to you.
Yeah.
And we'll come and we'll drink it. We'll drink it all.
absolutely.
And we'll talk about it.
Yeah, we enjoy that.
It's so awesome, and I need to get there because I absolutely love Italian food, and
Get in the truck.
Get in the truck, and I love craft beer. So.
Yeah. A couple other notes, just because this show is running long and we still have 2 other shows after this to talk about.
Jesus.
I know. You got into the discussion of everyone's craft beer journey closer to the end of the episode. All phenomenal stories, not going to go into those because, again, we want people to listen to your show or watch the show.
Some
I
good
watched
stories
it on YouTube.
there, though.
It was
Some of them
fantastic.
related to Jim Cook.
Yes,
True.
which was
Some crazy,
so freaking cool.
It's not even 7 degrees of
No,
Jim Cook.
No.
It's like
a
in
degree
front of Jim Cook.
Literally,
But anyways, go and listen.
Yes,
Trying to put the flavor back in the stuff.
exactly. Speaking of opening
Flavor Town.
opening up a bottle of a 1994 Sam Adams beer, and that whole experience, Sessionable Utopias,
It was
is
good.
how it came across.
It's how old they are, by the way. You gotta know somebody that old.
Yep.
So
Bachfest is never canceled. Just like life, it finds a way,
yeah,
which is fantastic.
yeah.
Jim's creative process for Bachfest posters and AI and digital artwork and kind of how some of those play into things or don't play into things.
It's such an amazing thread throughout the podcast is his creative inspiration and execution, and just go and listen.
Yeah. Only other note I had before, I have a count for this episode.
Woo!
Gabbys is having their own Bachfest celebration. I almost said May, good God. March the 2nd from noon to 6. Show up there.
We should say it's not an official Bachfest venue.
It's a Bachfest celebration. I didn't mean to
Celebration
infer that it was
of Bach.
right. It's not
Celebration
part
of
of the official
fest.
Bachfest,
Sebastian
but they are
Bach.
having their
Fest
own.
around Bach.
They're having their own Bach appreciation celebration. There we go. There may or may not be goats there.
Maybe.
If you have a goat, bring it. to
BYOG.
Gabbys.
Yeah,
Bring your own
BYOG. Yeah.
I
They're
love it.
asking for a goat.
They are asking for goats. So, but if you bring one, you have to take it with you when you leave. Don't leave the goat
don't
there.
leave your goat.
Don't leave your goat there.
Don't forget your goat.
To wrap up this recap of Volume 9, Episode 25 of, I'm going to go into it, the Cincinnati Brewcast.
There we go.
with
Cheers. Let's go.
Bocce,
Cheers,
Brewing,
cheers,
and Gabbys. Cheers and Brewing. I have a real name count.
Okay, let's go.
Oh, yeah.
Yes,
There was a
'cause
lot.
There were a
They
good
dropped
number.
a lot of
real names.
real names.
Yes. Nicknames were not a thing in
As
this
soon as,
episode.
well,
From minute 1,
Yeah.
I'm like, oh, here we go. There were a total of 5 real names dropped during this episode, which is, if you're playing our drinking game, 10 ounces, or just shy of a pint.
double it. No, you double it if you call me my
Oh,
real
okay.
name.
All right. Well, I don't have the math for that, but 20 ounces, so
20 ounces.
pint and a half.
Pint and a half.
Ish. Yeah. Phenomenal episode. Absolutely loved it. Again, that fade into the black and white and that transition, just beautiful. I
Did you
absolutely
watch it
love
on YouTube?
I watched it, yeah.
I went to YouTube and it wasn't there.
Well, you didn't do it
You gotta
right.
wait a little bit. It's not instantaneous. When did you check?
Monday morning?
I gotta wait a little bit, man. I gotta wake up and stuff. Get things rolling.
I gotta listen to it when I have time.
Kid was vomiting all over the house, man. Cut me some slack.
I gotta listen to it when I have time. We have more?
We have 2 more.
Fuck!
I know.
Go.
And it's like, it's recording time without the breaks. We're
keep
at 2
rolling.
hours and 13 minutes.
Let's go.
Barstool Perspective, that came out on February
It's only
26,
16 minutes, so
2024.
let's go.
21 minutes.
Oh, 21 minutes. Let's
Is
go.
red wine good for you is the title. Apparently,
It's not anymore.
they started
Move
this
on.
episode by saying Sapporo makes bad decisions.
They do.
Really?
Yeah.
That's in your, this is news, news.
But the thing
For
is,
the week.
what's surprising is a Japanese company, which you think a giant Japanese company would make good money decisions, which is why they killed off a legacy brand in the United States for good money decisions. Turns out they make bad money decisions.
Well, apparently, when 2 companies merge, it doesn't fix the issues of one of those companies.
No.
Again, in
Like, stay
why
together
is
for the
this
kids.
in why is this news?
No.
Yes, I don't think anyone
But
questions
the thing
that.
is,
but
Sapporo was successful enough on its own.
They weren't successful enough on their own. If they were successful enough on their own,
They
they
would
would
need
not
to
be
buy
coming
out.
here in the first
Exactly.
place. None of this would
Exactly.
exist.
The only reason they bought that brewery is to expand their brewery.
Because
which
it wasn't
Because it
successful
wasn't
enough
working in
Japan.
I
because
did not
because younger
know.
people in Japan are drinking this weird thing that is happening in Japan. It's like
Ramune.
This, yeah, they're making this stuff that is not. It's like fake beer. That's not beer. It's Japan is weird, and
Yes.
their beer
Yes.
scene is
Fake-
scene is
fake
even
beer
weirder
that's
than
not
ours
beer?
is.
I don't
And,
know. It's like, no.
I'm
I'm out. Tapped out.
all right, wine drinkers are dying off because instead of educated sommeliers, your wine will be picked based off of how cool the label is. As
Okay.
we kind of got
Okay.
a little.
If you put a capybara on a label of wine,
I'm
drink
buying it.
Yep.
Yeah,
I'm buying it.
I might not drink it, but I'll buy it.
I'll do both.
I might sip it and then go. I'm still not a wine person, and
Well, or
There you
you
go.
could be Martha Stewart and put out a 80-year-old thirst trap picture on the internet, and then
Is that out? Is that a thing?
and then want people to
Martha
buy your Martha Stewart wine.
I need to-
Or
She-
you could be
What am I
Snoop
Googling here?
Dogg,
Martha
that is,
Martha
Thirst
Stewart.
trap?
Yes.
or you could
There's
be
there
or
no,
you could
anyway.
be Snoop Dogg and just try to appeal to everybody. Now that, I mean, back in the '90s, you were edgy and smoked weed and
Which one am I looking at here? The one with her in the pool or her in the bathroom?
Yeah,
Yes.
I mean,
Why not?
Yeah, you're.
Whichever one made the Sports Illustrated cover.
This can't be a
There's
Sports
no-
Illustrated
Why are
photo,
you
but-
zooming into that?
Because you gotta
Oh,
zoom in to see what's happening here.
I mean, she's got some decent cleavage.
That's
I
the
mean,
thirst trap
not,
right there.
Yeah,
Is it?
yeah.
That's the Martha Stewart.
Martha Stewart,
thirst
yeah.
trap.
she's even like holding her phone, and it's got some kind of like strap on it. What is this? What is on her phone?
It's a lanyard, so she just throws it over her shoulder like a purse.
I love all of this.
Oh my
Yeah.
gosh, Marco, what have you done?
It's when I shower.
Now,
So-
what?
Here's the other one. This is her in the pool.
Oh,
Oh,
yeah.
she's trying to do the duck lip
the
kind of
duck
thing.
lips,
Didn't I
yeah.
thought that trend died
So-
like a couple years ago?
It did.
Thank God.
But the thing is, like, so with wine, if you're not having
Martha
these,
Stewart.
if you're not having
I'm
these
lost now.
social media triggers, you know, how are you getting people to actually?
Gnome is completely distracted
I'm-
now by
I'm
Martha
in love with
Stewart.
Martha Stewart.
he's totally going to Martha.
Why is she
Stewart,
so
just
good
like,
looking?
She's aged well.
Yeah.
Not gonna lie, she's.
Bet she can make a heck of a cupcake too.
Let's get back to the episode. The Korean police will cancel you if you're caught with yeast of any kind.
Yeah, yeah.
That is absolutely what they said. So
Well,
be
I would
careful
just
with
say,
your travel plans.
I would just say they might want to swab some people's armpits.
Oh, what? I see. I set myself up for that,
Like
but
everybody's.
I don't. Yeah.
I always
let's
travel
see.
east.
Profits
Yeah.
are down
Covered in
in
it.
profits are down in pubs in the UK,
This is crazy.
which is
That
kind of insane.
segment was crazy. The fact that they, as a profit margin, were only going what 10 or 15% profit margin
Right.
is ridiculous. You cannot.
It's a culture thing, though. Like,
Look,
it's,
but
Right,
I, can't,
I would agree with that.
Look, I mean,
it's not crazy. It's not crazy. It's the way it should be.
I don't know. I have not lived in an economy where that merit of scale actually makes sense for the business.
Well, it doesn't here at all.
It doesn't.
It doesn't here at all anymore. At one time, it did.
I don't think it ever did.
I think it did at some point.
I don't think it ever did. I think it was irresponsibility just kicking the can. I don't think it ever actually made sense.
Making sense, like, logically is very different than making sense monetarily. If there's something else that is your profit driver, of course it makes sense. It doesn't matter. You're in the same way that, like, you're not charging people for ice water. That makes sense, but it doesn't make sense. If somebody's sitting here at my table and they're drinking something, I should be charging them. Of course. And at some point, we will hit that point as a society where if somebody's sitting at my bar and they order an ice water, it's $5. Well, of course, you're sitting here in my spot. Why wouldn't I charge you $5 for that drink? Of course, because that's the logical progression.
Of it, yeah.
But that's not where we are yet. At some point, we will be. It's the same thing. That's not their profit driver, or hasn't been their profit driver. Maybe now it's got to be. I don't know.
Speaking of profits,
you're not
driving
eating enough
money.
fish and chips or something. I don't know.
I like fish and chips.
Me too.
I do enjoy.
They now have an in-show ad that they blended into things fairly well. And all I'm going to say about that is their in-show ads are nowhere near as good as your Manscaped ads were.
Yeah.
Those were pretty phenomenal, especially when you're live over the speakers at Braxton.
Oh, it's the best.
That was
to throw
amazing.
back to the Manscaped ads.
Yes. Cheers to Manscaped.
Oh,
Cheers to Manscaped.
Cheers. Good God. The French Paradox. They're healthy. We're not.
Also, your
Wine-
trimmer.
Also,
French Paradox.
nice. Now you've done gone killed him. Good job. Wine is apparently the magic elixir, or is it? Which was the main topic for this episode, or at least it was the title of this episode, not necessarily the main topic. And the world is not getting any better. We're just getting fucking drunk.
Yeah, so I think a couple of things with both of those things. For whatever reason, Brett thinks that we are on the edge of the apocalypse, and
They both do.
Mm-hmm.
And what I would say is that
See you on the other side.
we'll find a way.
That's my stance.
Yeah.
We'll find a way. The other thing is with the wine, there's plenty of anecdotal evidence that wine is fine. It's good.
Well, I think
It's fine. I mean, have it, don't have it, but if you have it, great.
Don't expect it to fix all of your problems.
No.
But
I think we talk about this next week on Cincy Brewcast. I think.
Spoilers.
Unless we were just drinking afterwards, and we don't.
could have been.
which is possible. Wine has either set itself up for a really long period of hardship, or like this crazy fast like renaissance of wine in this country, and I'm excited to see which way it goes.
All right. That's
I can give my guess, but I could give my guess, and I hope I'm wrong,
Okay.
is what I would say.
It depends on a few factors, depending on how things fall into place.
I don't have a lot of wine at home. I have a lot of capacity for wine at home. I have like a 72 bottle wine rack
But even
in my
that,
basement.
even that in itself is a problem with wine culture. You shouldn't put your wine in a rack in your basement. You should drink your wine.
It's like beer.
Same way with beer.
Yeah.
Like
But
it's
But it's there for when I want it.
Right.
And the problem is I don't have enough situations where I want to pop. The wine's way different than beer, because
no, it's the same as some of those fancy bottles of beer that you buy and then you stuff in a cellar and they sit on a shelf and you're waiting for an opportunity to pop it.
If I pop a bottle of wine in my house, I'm the only one drinking it.
Yeah,
which is not a problem. But I just need to know that, okay, you need to finish that in 3 days or it's going to get poured.
Right.
You know,
it takes you 3 days to get through a bottle of wine.
It does
wow,
not.
I'm doing things either very wrong or very right.
It does not, depending on what else, whatever else is happening the rest of the day. But
if I open a bottle, I don't care if it's beer, wine, whatever. If I open something that's like, unless it's a spirit, it's gonna be gone.
Well, but I could see having a couple of nice pilsners and then with dinner having a Cab Sav or a Merlot or a Pinot Noir, having a glass and then having a glass after dinner to watch a show, and then there's still 2 glasses of wine left in that bottle.
You just finish it.
You could, or have it tomorrow. Yeah, I understand. I
promise
get it.
for tomorrow.
Yeah.
I understand. I agree. And then all these tales of, hey, we're cooking this and use leftover wine. It's like, that's not a
There's
thing.
no such thing as
There's
leftover
no such
wine.
thing.
No.
There's no leftover wine.
Like, unless you mean like a literal drop or 2. Like, yeah,
There's no leftover wine.
No.
Like, I bought
Running out to the recycling bin and you're pulling out all the old bottles and shaking them out. There's not enough leftover wine.
All right, does anyone else have any other notes on this episode of Barstool Perspective before I give you the multiple choice question and the sip count?
Let's go.
No.
Leon. I didn't even say, there's not enough water here for you, Leon. Multiple choice question, where should we all move? A, Moscow, B, France, or C, stay in the United States?
Or D, Julia.
Oh, geez, put that thing away.
He's just practicing for the relay.
Yeah. It's not like you haven't seen it before.
Yeah, he's got to flop it out on the table like that.
Not
I mean, every week you've been
I know,
here.
I was just going
That
to
is
say,
true.
it's not like...
Sometimes
you
you
know.
put it right on my leg.
Wiggles right in front of you.
Writhing around.
Oh, I'm writhing. Oh, no, that's a terrible
Or
word.
D, Julia, is it Australia where everything can kill you?
All incredibly good and incredibly relevant answers. All right, sip count. The number of sips that Brett took was 13.
That's good.
And the
Okay.
number that Mike took, 9.
Okay.
So that's 9. So that's 22 sips, 44 total
44
ounces,
ounces.
2 3/4 pints.
Okay.
During
Very good.
this
Respective.
21-minute episode.
That's good.
That's very good.
Good.
All right, let's go ahead and talk about the weekly pint. It is the last show that we have to talk about tonight, and we have been recording for like 13
It is the
hours.
final show.
Do-do-do-do. Do-do-do-do. This is They're All Sick. I need a beer.
I do.
And you got one. So that kind of worked out
Yeah.
a bit. Do we need to take a break?
Yes.
Yes.
Come on. All right. Before we get to the weekly pint, we're taking a break. We'll be right back. For the love of God, we are finally back for the final podcast
Bach.
recap podcast.
Bach.
Well, I guess this really isn't a podcast because it's not uploaded to podcatchers or hasn't in a bit. This is a Facebook/YouTube video /Twitter video. Is it still
Should be
going on
a
there?
podcast at some point.
At some point. All right.
No, technically it's a podcast.
I didn't write down the episode number for this one. It's like 206 or 7 by this time.
5, I think.
5?
Because
I don't know.
I skipped 2.
I'm not going to go back
5
through my notes.
5 or 6.
We've been recording for way too
Doesn't matter.
long.
Doesn't
They're all
matter.
sick. I need a beer. Everyone is or has been sick in your household. They still are.
Still are, evidently.
You are infecting us as we speak. So
Yep. Every
Lord
time-
only knows if we're going to make
Infectious.
it to Gabby's on
Every
Tuesday.
time I lick one of your faces,
Oh,
you're
come
getting
on.
infected.
Which, I mean, you would think that by now.
You got it out of the way early, though.
Yeah.
Let it go.
Yeah. We helped pick your beer for the night
did.
again, which was a lot of fun. Elijah chimed in early when you said, "Oh, we're going to pick numbers," and he's
he cheated.
immediately,
Right
he
off the bat.
totally cheated. So you eliminated him.
Although I
from-
cheated. I
What?
cheated. Well, no.
Uh-oh.
No.
You said yes. You said
Well,
two people
yeah.
have to agree,
Yeah.
and
No. I cheated on this week's episode of Cincy Brewcast that you guys have not heard this next week's episode.
okay.
Oh, okay.
I told everybody what number to pick because of the beer that I want to drink that's been just sitting there in the fridge staring at me that I want to
So
drink.
absolutely listen to this coming week's Cincy Brewcast, and then
so it was
be
a
on
virtual
the Weekly Pint.
recording.
No, but during the recording, he said...
I said which number people should pick when they pick
Oh, I love
next
that.
week's episode.
I love that. So you'll know who has and has not listened.
Yeah.
That's good.
Or it
That's
could just
good.
be
I
us
like
being
it.
assholes and just picking different numbers
Yeah.
just because
Yeah,
we're, you know.
like
Maybe
it.
I'll just drink it.
like
Maybe
it.
we'll all cheat.
You need to have a camera pointed at the fridge so that when we pick this, it's like,
It's
okay,
coming one of these
this
days.
This is actually what I'm picking out. Phenomenal. You had a beer from Seventh Son, which, yes, I only want to
It
go
was
to the
fine.
brewery because of Horatio, the taproom manager, which maybe added to the Columbus list.
Yeah,
We'll
yeah.
see. What do I have here? I can't even read my
Columbus
handwriting.
content coming at you in
Yes.
April.
Yep. Stay tuned.
You said that it wasn't going to be a super long episode because you weren't feeling well, but it was still about 54 minutes long.
Yeah.
So
Well, the internet
got-
worked.
this is true.
God knows that, you could just
You were
take
an
an
hour
extra
late,
hour
but
to start the show. And
you were an
it'll
hour
just
late,
work.
but it was almost an hour pod, so
Yeah,
we're
yeah.
good.
Yeah.
We're
Maybe
good.
just talk to the wife about switching your internet service provider.
It's-
Yeah.
I appreciated it because
I did. Oh yeah, absolutely, absolutely.
I was running late from work.
I climbed
and
into the rafters and stuff. Man.
I was running late from work, and I really appreciated that I got to be a part of it, which I always want to be.
I think it was because it started late that I forgot to set my alarm for the next morning
For
to get
work
up.
the next morning?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Tracks. That's
So I still feel like today is not the right day of the week.
I don't even
like,
want
I
to
still
get
just
into
feel
Never the right day of the
I don't even
No.
want to get into
No.
how I feel today. I just don't want to get into it.
That's fine.
feels like a judgment, but that's cool.
Is a hot toddy the perfect drink for when you're sick, or is it a Sprite?
No, it's Cappy Snacks.
Oh, okay.
Yep.
I bet if
I-
you warmed that up, put like an extra shot of bourbon or something
I feel
in
like it would be very
or even
syrupy.
honey. Yeah, but I mean, sometimes when you're
But
sick,
I could put some bourbon in it.
yeah, that's true. That's true.
Yeah.
For me, when I'm sick, for whatever reason, like just Sprite. It can't be 7-Up. It can't be
you
Starry
can
or
burp
whatever
it
the
out.
fuck. It
You
just
can
has
burp
to be.
it out. You know,
That's probably
what
it.
The
That's probably
Hispanic mother that I had was sick. You spray, you burp it out.
You burp it out. You talked about this week's Cincy Brewcast, Sessionable Utopias. I have written down Amp House's No More, but it never really was, I
It
guess.
never really was. Yeah.
Which
It
is
was never
kind of
gonna be.
sad, but who knows? Maybe the Hollowworth Brewing
I love that
company
idea.
will come out of that.
I
It's a shame when these places that start up don't, like, things don't happen or they
I actually
can't happen.
feel like
but
I hope they didn't lose anything in the process.
right.
It sounds like they didn't, but I mean,
No, they didn't.
to take a historic space and try and do the environmental cleanup and try and go and make it into a viable space. Yeah, there's money involved there.
Sure.
I mean,
Sure.
you can talk to the former owners of Cartridge, and they
goodness.
evaded all that because of everything that
That's saucy and all that.
that county wanted to do to
the-
make
okay,
it
okay,
a viable space. And then once it was a viable space, then they can go in and do that. And so
The environmental remediation that had to happen at Amp
Oh
House
my
was
God,
nothing
probably.
compared to Cartridge. Nothing. It was not
Yeah.
even
But
in
it
the
was
same
still,
category.
But it was still probably a lot.
It was.
that they- you know what I mean?
It was,
Sure,
it was a
sure.
bit of money, of course.
But it wasn't a whole shit ton of lead.
yeah, no, it was
casings
nothing
and everything. Right, yeah, no,
Nothing
no,
compared
no.
to.
but
I
still,
like-
the fact remains is that they did some stuff.
Yeah.
They bought some parcels, and now there's a bigger parcel. And so don't be mad if you're a resident with taxpayer dollars, paying to buy it back when you only sold it for $1. Don't be mad. This shit happens.
It's also like I get it from one perspective though. Like if you're coming in and you're saying, yeah, we're gonna turn
They
this
might sell it back for another $1.
Yeah. Maybe. No, they won't. They won't.
Now they kind of understand what it may be worth to someone. I don't know. I like that
The reason you sell it for $1 is because somebody needs to come in and do some of that work.
With it. Yeah,
that's the risk that person's taking.
I like your
Still more
description
work.
of breaking down the east side and the west side of Hamilton.
Mm-hmm.
West side is not the best side in Hamilton, apparently. East side is
they're both fine.
has more. The east side seems to have more going for it currently.
And which side do you live on?
Yeah, are
In
you
Hamilton, it depends how you look at it.
Okay, that's fair. That's fair. We have labels, or we got labels, label
Yeah.
art. Always love seeing that. That is, I understand that it's some work for you to try to pull those and like get them all set up to show us. So definitely appreciate your work in going. It's been quite a while since I've shown you guys labels that have been approved. Here are some new ones to keep an eye out for, potentially if they actually hit the shelf.
Yep.
So that is always fun. Let's see. Your life's work is now complete. You have confirmed where garage beer is made. And I'm just not going to say
Jock.
where because fuck 'em.
Jock beer. Or Jock beer is
Jock,
better.
Jock
Jock
beer.
beer.
Yes. Which
Jock beer.
I don't know.
The taint of beers.
There's branding
so
that goes
much-
along with Jock beer. There's all kinds of stuff.
Oh,
Jock
I'll-
beer is a whole story within itself.
Oh, I'll bet there is. And if you ever put together something for it,
You
it'll
get a
be
long
fascinating.
weekend and you just go to sniff. It's rough.
It smells like Jock beer.
Yeah.
What was that about looking for yeast again that we talked about earlier in
yeah.
the episode?
Yeah.
Smell your
yeah.
Jock beer yeast.
I am incredibly excited for you to go to your first FC Cincinnati game. I am
Yep.
looking forward to
You
hearing
get very drunk.
whatever the recap
Good.
is, be that
Good.
just here on a Tuesday or in
I've
a
never
video
been.
or in
I
whatever.
need to go. I need to go to one.
It is great.
Rachel and I need to get to one.
The March is amazing, so I don't know what's going on with whichever game you're going to, but if you can participate in the March going to the stadium, hell of a lot of fun. It's a great experience. There are no bad seats in that stadium. Wonderful, wonderful, wonderful. So very excited for you for that new experience.
Sure, it'll be
basically.
fun.
To say the word experience even more than I need to. And then you gave some teasers on some upcoming videos, spirit alternatives, that type
There's
of
some
thing.
fun stuff coming.
Some
So-
experiential stuff.
Very nice.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
Very nice.
I see what you did.
Yeah.
Spirits.
And because we have been recording for almost 3 hours now, we're going to wrap this shit up. But I do have a cough count
Oh
Okay.
boy.
for this
Good.
episode
For-
of the Weekly Pint.
For this episode that we're recording, or for the episode of the Weekly Pint?
The Weekly
There's
Pint.
two different cough counts.
If I think about it while I'm editing this, maybe.
I tried to hit
Probably
the button
not.
as much as I could. I tried, guys.
You did a pretty good job, and I know that we mentioned this on one of our shows a long time ago. We thought about trying to get cough buttons and then realized we're sitting directly across from each other. It doesn't matter if I try to mute my mic. Marco's mic is still going to pick it up and vice versa. So we're just like,
it didn't make
whatever.
sense.
Yeah.
It makes sense.
Also, the actual.
I can cut 'em
like
out,
if you
yeah.
buy a cough button, like the actual buttons that sit in line,
Yeah,
it doesn't actually cut it out completely.
No.
Like there's still, you can still hear
There's
it.
still a bit, right? It
It's
mutes it enough, but right, we decided that it's not worth it for us. But
Yeah.
you did a good job, so that made it a little more difficult for me because I had to like really be watching.
Yeah.
And this count is based upon the number of what I was able to perceive as diaphragm spasms. So like that's 2, even though that's part of the same.
That's a tough.
You're right.
tough count.
So this may not be 100% accurate, but
So that's 2.
yeah.
Okay.
So if I could pick it up, again, this is probably not 100% accurate, but it was the best that I could do.
Okay.
In this episode of the Weekly Pint, there were 49 coughs.
That sounds about right.
Sounds about right. Because it was about a 54-minute episode. So in the beginning, it was okay, but once you started talking,
Yeah.
things just
Like,
kind of go downhill. Right.
Right
everything
now,
loosens
right now,
up,
I'm
everything getting
yeah.
bad. Right. And instead of doing ounces of sips, I decided to do doses of Robitussin.
Okay.
The average
This
dose of
sounds
Robitussin.
like recipe for
do not do
some
this.
kind of
Do not.
lawsuit. That's-
100%. This is all satire. Don't fucking do this.
Don't drink this much Robitussin.
This is for humor value only. If you took 1 dose of Robitussin for each cough, each dose of Robitussin is approximately 20 milliliters.
Okay.
Ooh.
All right.
Ah.
That would have been 980 milliliters of Robitussin,
I don't know what that means.
Yes.
which translates to 33.33 ounces,
That's a lot of Robitussin.
which is just a slight bit over 2 pints of Robitussin.
Oh,
feel like-
so much Robitussin.
Don't
feel like I would go to
fucking
sleep.
do
I feel like
this.
it would be a
Don't do
good
that.
Oh,
night's sleep.
you would
Yeah,
go to sleep
don't do that.
forever.
That sounds so
No,
wonderful.
you'd go to
I'm
sleep
saying
forever. Don't do it.
Don't
Do not do
that.
it.
Do not do
No,
that at home.
no.
Wonderful
Again,
sleep.
this is for humor purposes only. Don't fucking do it.
Do your shot of Robitussin, guys.
Fuck. Does anyone have anything else on any of the 37 different shows that we had to talk about tonight? Pieces of Cincinnati craft beer content?
I just want to say that I appreciate everyone that's putting content and promoting activities. You know, everybody that we talked about, the Gnome, Adam Makes Beer, everybody, Blake, also Cincy Brews Traveler, everybody that's doing stuff in this space. I truly appreciate it. And just know that please go and support the stuff.
Yeah.
Whatever it is, whatever
Subscribe,
the stuff
watch,
is,
listen, yeah.
whatever it is, that's what we're here to do. Follow the Cincy beer events so that we can keep you updated on whatever's going on, and just get out there and support your local breweries,
Heck yeah.
local places, bottle shops, whatever it is. Get out there, drink, buy your stuff from those places. By the way, what's not talked about is that in a very near future, you're going to see a shrinking of local stuff happening at your Kroger.
Kroger hates craft beer.
Yeah.
Yeah, shrinking is going to happen at your local grocery store. And so you're going to have to go seek out and find the good shit. And so go seek out and find the good shit from your craft beer stores like Higher Gravity, like
Cappies.
Cappies,
Standard
like Standard
Beer.
Beer, like Root Cellar, places that have the stuff, because you're going to have less variety at Kroger.
Yeah.
Yep, very true.
And then also go to your local brewery and hope that they have it in package, or understand whatever package format they have. This is real. This is a call to action. Go support local. Let's get acclimated to what's going to be the new presentation, and don't
Just stop buying your beer there. Go somewhere else and let them know that you're not okay with what things look like.
Yeah.
Yeah, and so
Yep.
that's a big conversation. So, anyways, it's important. So
It is.
I
It is.
agree. I agree. It's absolutely important. Support local. Go to your local places, be them bottle shops, breweries. Don't go to the big guys anymore. Send word to the big, and by that I mean, Kroger and these other mass marketing locations. Buy your beer from the source as much as possible.
Yeah.
With all that being said, if you like what we've done, like, review, subscribe, share, follow. You know the drill. We're on YouTube, Facebook, Instagram. We're kind of everywhere. It's kind of hard for us to do a lot of stuff on social media, but we do what we can. Follow Cincy Beer Events, our other podcast where we let you know all about the beer events happening in and around the greater Cincinnati area. If we mention something or we talk about something, have a conversation in the episode that you went, okay, I don't remember you guys talking about that, it's probably on Patreon, which is a lot of fun. So go to our website, truthbeerpod.com. We have links to absolutely everything there. and support us.
And get ass with the money. But other than that, you closing
us out, man. Go ahead and do
it. What is everyone gonna do next Tuesday?
I'm fucking gonna be here or at Gabbys having some goddamn Italian food.
Let's go.
Drinking
some beer.
Let's go.
Drinking some beer, eating some pasta. Fuck
Love
yeah.
you.
Have a good one, guys.